So I heard that when your mom was expecting you, your dad jumped on a horse and went into town, and that he was visited by someone. Is that true?
Well, he made a kind of a story out of it. He actually, I think the most he told, and of course, when we hear things, we retell them, and it's pretty hard to tell an experience without embellishing it and putting our own twist on it. But when my mother went into labor, it was in the middle of the winter in the little village out there, and sister, what was her name? In nearby Newton. I've heard her name plenty of times. I just can't say it now, but she was the midwife. We didn't have an attending doctor, but she was the midwife that went around and assisted in the birth of babies, and so toward evening, they decided I was going to be born, and so he hooked up old Mandy. That was his famous pony horse. Hooked up old Mandy on the cutter sled. That's just a little cutter, they called it, that had the runners that were about, a little longer than that table there, and then curled up around like that in front, kind of like what you see for Santa Claus or whatever. And they had a cutter sled, and he hooked up old Mandy on the cutter sled, and I think it's about between 5 and 6 miles to Newton from Clarkston. I'm not sure just how far, but he went to get her to come and assist in the birth, and that was in the early evening, and she came back with him and was there, and later on I was born sometime in the late evening and early night. I was born about 10 o'clock at night, and he took her back to Newton in the wee hours of the morning, he called it. Whether that was midnight or when, I don't know, but he took her back to Newton in the cutter sled. And then on the way home, he said that he was thinking about being a father, kind of like you did when your little kid was born, and it had been a successful birth, and mother and child were doing well. Began to count his blessings, and it was typical of him to sing. Whenever he was out alone, he would always sing. You could hear him singing out on the old farm and all, but he was out there in the middle of the night returning from his round trip and singing, and said that he was quite happy and elated and all, and began to count his blessings and felt like he had a kind of a spiritual experience that all was going to be well, and that he would be able to be a good father and things like that. And as he told about that, of course, the rest of us have picked up on it and turned it into a vision like Uncle Jack had with a beautiful angel.